All right, everybody, welcome in to the Ernest Biner episode 34 of the Barking Brown Show. I am your host, Jacob at Roachism13 on the Twitters. Joined as always by my wonderful co-host, Nick Carnes at Carnesies817 on Twitter. We're joined by producer Ed as well. And this is our first episode. We are presented by Couch Guy Sports, everybody. We are now part of the Couch Guy Sports Network, where I am also writing pieces. If you go to my Twitter at Roachism13, you will find my piece that I wrote on Friday that is about three of the young budding stars in the Browns. I talk a little bit about Newsome, JOK, and Donovan Peoples-Jones, who I've been beating the table for forever. So thank you to Couch Guy Sports. Thank you to everybody that has checked me out on Couch Guy Sports. Thanks for Couch Guy Sports taking this opportunity to take a chance on us. And I promise that it will not be. So Nick, I got a question for you.
Yeah.
Hey, you ever feel unable to focus, tired, and just low on energy?
You know what? Right about now, actually.
I understand that feeling. We understand it so well that the Barking Brown Show is brought to you by Couch Guy Sports Network, who is sponsored by our friends at Shocked Energy. That's right. Shocked Energy is a drink made by gamers for gamers. All their flavors come packed with 180 milligrams of caffeine to ensure that no matter what you're doing, your focus will be razor sharp to keep you performing at the top of your game. Their formulas are designed to specifically give you the high energy boost when you need it, while ensuring to avoid the jitters after too much caffeine consumption. Boy, do I know something about the jitters after too much caffeine consumption. Guys, head on over to www.shockedenergy.com. Use the promo code CGSN today for 10% off your order. Check out their green apple flavored box or even their watermelon flavored box. We all know what I think about that flavor, watermelon. Oh, and don't worry, they ship worldwide. That's right, worldwide. Worldwide. Get your Shocked Energy today and let us help you gain the focus and energy back. Guys, Nick, producer Ed, how are we doing this evening?
You know what? I think some people that are watching right now would probably expect a negative response, but I'm gonna keep riding the wave of we can beat the Raiders. And you know what? It's easy to forget because of the way some people are treating it, but we did beat the Ravens, and it's the first time we beat the Ravens since the Freddie Kitchens era. So I think it's really important. I think you know what? No matter how the game looked, it's important to appreciate the fact that the Browns did win, because when you think about how long it's been since we have beaten them, it shows you just how hard it is to do for whatever reason. So I feel good. What about you, Ed?
Well, you know what? Wins bring energy, and I will not be shocked when the Browns beat the Raiders this week. And I think that, coming off this win, yes, it was close and we had to hang on, but we got the W. That's all that matters. We're in playoff mode, and we won a tight ball game. And you know what? The greatest part about that was the defense stepped up. All year, we're like, oh, this defense has playmakers, and all they did was give up massive points, and they're out of position. Well, now they're in position, they're making plays, and they're winning ball games. So I will not be shocked. The energy is back at First Energy Stadium, and it's going to be on Saturday at 4:30. And I don't care what the weather is, because we're not going to run Red Right 88, and the Browns will win this game, and they're going to make this playoff push, and good things are happening on the lakefront.
I did try the green apple flavored Shocked Energy recently, and you guys know this, I'm a big caffeine junkie. Check it out, guys. Seriously, go over, use our code CGSN at shockedenergy.com, get 10% off. Really, if you're a caffeine addict like me, you really should. You guys really should. I promise you. Listen, Ed, we know you got some behind the scenes producer stuff to do, and we'll check in with you in a little bit, but I'm going to ask you right now, what to you are the odds? Do you think your Cleveland Browns? How confident are you in your Cleveland Browns on Saturday? Before
I'm very confident. Watching Steve Kornacki on Sunday Night Football, the Browns made the biggest playoff jump up to the 8th seed. They have a 44% chance of making the playoffs now. But here's what I think, gentlemen. I think that if you win every single game, even if you do drop on the Packers game on Christmas Day, I think you're going to get in the playoffs. I think that last game against Cincinnati might actually be the team that determines, or the game that determines which team gets in. And I'm really confident, actually. I think we're definitely going to win on Saturday. I think it's going to be a Stefanski kind of blowout, 23-10 Browns, given my prediction early. And I think that the game that actually scares me the most is the Monday Night Football game in Pittsburgh. Because for some reason, obviously earlier this year on Halloween, it was trick or treat. Well, it wasn't good for us, trick or treat. So I think that game still scares me. I wouldn't count that as an automatic W. I do think that we have the talent to beat them, and I do think we're going to win that game. And I do think, gentlemen, that we are going to go to the playoffs. So, and honestly, guys, fire those comments, those Twitter comments in. I'm monitoring them, and let's get going, guys.
All right, Ed, we'll check in with you in a little bit, my friend.
Hey, Ed, before you go, I just want to say I like your hat.
I love the Cleveland Cavaliers, and I love you, Nick, and I love you, Jacob.
I love you, buddy. Let them know.
Let them know.
All right, guys. So we will address the COVID stuff. We decided as a show that we will address the COVID stuff and all that doom and gloom and all that great stuff at the end of the show, and we'll put kind of our little spin on it like we do. But I decided that I needed this adult beverage here tonight. I have got a Bud Light seltzer. It is, look at this. It's all Christmassy and everything. It is cherry cordial. We're gonna try this together. Oh, look at that. Do you hear that? That sweet, sweet sound.
Yeah. It's a beautiful thing.
I did a chocolate seltzer. It's weird. I like it.
Chocolate? Is it chocolate?
It's cherry cordial, so it's like chocolate covered cherry. So it's like a chocolate cherry alcoholic drink, and I'm actually, you know what? I kind of dig it.
Okay. All right. Hey, more power to you.
Guys, we want to talk about the Baltimore Ravens game. So Nick, what's the first things coming to your mind? I can tell you got something going on right now, and I'm ready to hear it.
Well, there's a lot. You know what? And so I think Ed hinted at the defense and kind of the role that they're going to play, and especially because, as we alluded to, with the COVID thing and the Raiders and all that, I'm not trying to jump ahead, but the most dominant unit of the Browns right now is the defense, right? And on top of that, they're the ones who so far, fingers crossed, have not been affected by all of this. And you know what? I think it's important too that the Browns, for the most part, except for Kareem Hunt, so we hope he's going to be back, but they escaped the Ravens game without any injuries. And I'm so happy about that, because it's like, you get Jacob Phillips back, and so he's going to start working his way in. But it's like the defense is probably playing, is probably getting to the point where they're playing their best football.
I think so.
I would say so. And so that's probably where my confidence and my excitement comes from the most, because it's like, you see, and you know what? We've talked about it on this show before. Those Myles Garrett strip sacks were such an important part of the Browns' victory
season
runs last year. And so it was so nice to see him get back in on that. And today I did a tweet about Jadeveon Clowney, and I know we're kind of just glossing over, but I'm just, giving you some thoughts here. It's like between Clowney and Garrett, I mean, those two can take over games. And a lot of people have been, wondering when that defensive line is really going to shine. And I think we're really starting to see the beginning of it. So I think that's where I'd like to start. Really, it's just the I mean, Jadeveon Clowney got a sack and a half. Myles Garrett had the I think it was our friend Derek West who said the sack, scoop, and score. Love that little alliteration there. And I mean, that's just the beginning of it. But God, our duo of defensive ends are fun.
Yeah, I will start talking about this defense a little bit. I made a point, and I think I ended up cursing him because I praised one of my favorite standout players on Sunday was Takk McKinley. And so I took the opportunity to, say, hey, that he was doing that, he was playing this role, and then he goes on the COVID list.
Well,
as well. And so I feel partially like if anybody is like, oh, who could have cursed us? It was me. It was 100% me. You can be angry at me. I take full responsibility for the things that I did. So Takk McKinley had 8 pressures in this game.
Yeah.
Takk McKinley, let me say that. Let me run that by you guys again. Takk McKinley had 8 pressures in this game. He had a sack. He had a sack. He had the forced fumble, which didn't amount. That one didn't amount to points, but he finishes with a 76 pass rush grade, 8 total pressures, which I think is just And like that's a stupid number. Like Myles has like 62 pressures on the year. 8 pressures is like, if obviously Tack hasn't averaged that or anything like that, so it's not the same thing. But like 8 pressures is a lot. Like Myles had 3 in this game. Jadeveon Clowney had 5. There was 24 pressures in this game. The Browns had 24 pressures, 16 hurries, 3 hits. They had the 4 sacks. This defense has become what we dreamed it would. I'm going to answer a couple of questions real quick. Hey, Howard, how glad to see you are in there. Defense has been terrific, but without an offense, we can't score. We will get into that. We'll get into that as well. And Mitch says that we need Conklin. My buddy, I really, really wish that we had Jack Conklin.
Yeah, that sucks.
But so let's talk about this defense in this game, because I want to talk about the defense. I want to talk about the offense. And then I want to talk about the coach, because I continue to see what I think is unnecessary fire at the coach. And I'm going to say a lot of whys. I'm not the guy, and I've argued against the guys. We'll get into that in a second. I'm not the guy that says, well, you should be grateful because we were 1-31. You should accept mediocrity. But that's not what I'm going to tell you to do. But I'm also going to put some perspective on the situation of what has been Kevin Stefanski's first year and a half. I was told he has more wins than like Hugh Mangini and somebody else combined, like just in case people are curious about that, already at 18-11 as a head coach. This defense is rounding into what we thought, man. They had 28 stop tackles in this game, according to PFF. And our good friend, Wildlife Lover, decided he thought, while being blocked by me, would try to correct me on what a stop tackle is when I said it was a negative play. He said it could actually be a positive yardage and consider a negative play. And I said, I never said negative yardage. So a stop tackle is a play that is considered a failure for the offense, for anybody that doesn't know. So PFF defines it as this. So on first down, in order to have a successful play, you need 4 or more yards, because 4 yards on first, second, and third down will get you a first down. So that keeps you on schedule, right? You hear about them talking about being on schedule. So a stop tackle on first down is 4 or more yards. On second down, whatever it is, if it's 2nd and 8, you need 50% of your yards on second down. So if it's 2nd and 8 and you get 4 yards, that's a successful play. If you get 3 or less, it's considered a stop tackle or a failure or a successful play for the defense. And on 3rd or 4th down, a successful play is getting the first down or the touchdown, whichever one is applicable. So 28 times the Browns made stops in 74 snaps. 24 plays. This doesn't count like incompletions and stuff like that. But the Browns forced 28 plays in which a tackle was made. So a run play or a completion was made. 28 plays in which it was a failure for the Ravens offense. And by the way, I want to give some credit to Tyler Huntley, because in that second half, that man was fucking dealing. Not just the moves he was making. I thought there were some damn fine throws. I was like, it's just like us. We always hurt a starter. And listen, Lamar, dynamic. I don't know what happens if Lamar plays that game. I am smart enough to admit that. But how is it that whenever we hurt a starting quarterback, the backup quarterback comes in and just balls? It feels like do you agree? Does it feel like this happens to us way too often?
Yeah. Well, when their backup quarterback, I was with my friends, and when their backup quarterback came in, I was like, well, the last time their backup quarterback came in, he took him. I think he got like 2 or 3 first downs before Lamar came back. Like it was like the Browns did last year.
McSorley, yeah. McSorley had some good plays.
You know what I'm saying? It's like when the Browns needed to stop even against the Ravens backup last year, they couldn't get it right, and they did eventually force them into that really awkward situation. But of course, Lamar comes back, and the rest is history. But the point is, even that backup on a moment's notice got a couple first downs against the Browns defense, and so it's like it makes you wonder, looking at that stuff. But you know what though, you could make the argument that Tyler Huntley played better than Lamar has in about a month. Honest, I like if you look at his stats, like Lamar's been turning the ball over, and just
Huntley turned the ball over twice.
Yeah, it's true. Yes, he did. I just like did Huntley not have over 300 yards passing?
I don't think I'm not sure. I'd have to look at the statistics. Ed will find it for you.
Yeah, I can't remember exactly, but
it's funny because I'm sure Lamar's a better player. That's not what we're saying here.
yeah,
It's just the point is that it felt like it was like, don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. With the backups in, and it's like, he's that first drive, he threw that one pass short, and you're like, we're going to smoke him.
yeah.
And then the second half, he just like, I just remember that one run where he was just like, whoop, 270. He threw for 270. So he was just whoop, 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 whoop. And I was like, oh my God, it's so good. But this defense, and this, we'll get in this later. This is the defense that, we said be patient for. I said this last week. We said be patient for this defense. We said give Joe. I said people need to give Joe Woods an apology, and a lot of people said he was 27 of 38. So, okay, 27 to 38, one touchdown, 270 yards. And I said, you got to be patient. People should apologize to Joe Woods, and our good friend Roger, of course, he did. He issued an apology. I was teasing him about it, and he was the bigger man, and he did it, and I love him for that, and many other reasons, obviously. But he is. I said people were like, no, he had some bad games early on. I was like, yeah, but everybody told me Joe Woods couldn't coach at all, and all of a sudden, those people aren't talking about Joe Woods. This is the defense. This is the talent that AB acquired, man. And right now the offense, there's a lot of issues. For me, at the forefront of it is they do not have a dynamic playmaker at wide receiver. Not having David Njoku, who's probably the most dynamic receiving threat they have, really hurt. They missed Harrison Bryant and David Njoku greatly. And we'll get into that. Nick Chubb at 3.5 yards a rush. But this is the talent that was acquired by AB on defense, and right now the team needs to lean on it while their offense isn't getting it done, and they're able to.
I think that might be painting it a little too rosy for me. I think because it's like the defense did let the Ravens back into the game, right? And I know that's a lot of that's on the offense doing nothing. Right. But
I also think they were playing prevent a little early and trying to run down.
Yeah, that was. But then
I think they got into it just a little too early.
What was that, like 4th and 11 they gave up to Mark Andrews?
I think it was a 4th and 10 and he got 11. Yeah.
Or 4th and 10 and he got 11. And
nobody covered him at all. Like not a single person.
Yeah, I saw the thing. He was targeted 10 times in the slot and he had 10 receptions. Like that's
100 yards and a touchdown or whatever it is.
And I thought the defense played tremendously, and then all of a sudden it was like, and I'm not sure if maybe they were just on the field too much or what. I don't think like they played an elite half to me, and then things kind of started to fall apart, and they did a good job of holding them to field goals, but they definitely left opportunities for the Ravens. Like I remember the one pass, like Huntley just overshot Marquise Brown in the end zone, but he was open, and so. I mean, obviously they were missing Newsome.
Time of possession was pretty close. The Browns 33 minutes 50 seconds. Okay. The Ravens 26-10.
So I just there was a lot of good pieces to me. I would like to see them put together an entire game. So I agree that like you definitely saw flashes of what this defense can be. I just I just want to acknowledge that they did let them back into the game, but I do put that more on. Like whenever
it's like a combination of things.
Doing nothing, right? Eventually, the other offense that's getting all the like the Ravens offense is going to get all these opportunities. I think eventually they're going to find a rhythm, if you just keep giving them opportunities. So I don't put the Ravens getting back into the game on the defense so much as I do. For whatever reason, I'm so frustrated with the way. That so often through Kevin Stefanski's tenure, the offense explodes in the first half and just goes to sleep in the second half. I'm so it's become a trend now. I think as we're getting near the full 2 seasons, you can kind of evaluate things. I'm super frustrated about that. And I know maybe I'm jumping ahead. I just it led into one led it into the other.
Well, this is what I'll say about the defense. I think that they got to the point where they started playing conservative. Ed points out that my draft crush Rashad Bateman had over 100 yards, and the Browns could use a receiver like him. I called it on this fucking show. Well, not this show. Me and Nick were doing our Twitter lives. I called it. I said, Nick, the Ravens are going to draft Rashad Bateman next week.
I know. Yeah, you did.
And he's like, I swear to God. And then I texted him immediately when it happened. I was like, I told you. I love Rashad Bateman. I love him a lot, and he showed you exactly. He showed you exactly why. Tyler Huntley gave him opportunities, and he made the most of them. Browns outs. Yeah, Ed's point. The Browns are outscored 105-52 in the fourth quarter since the Chargers game.
What is that? What, you know what I'm saying? Like the Browns have shown a ability to score, and they just can't. Late.
And I get what people are saying, and we'll get into this. So we'll get into the coaching thing. So I think that's where we're going, because it feels like maybe we'll come back to some things on the defense.
Sorry.
No, it's okay. It's okay, because that's what I like about this show, is that we just bounce around and do whatever it is that needs to be done. And so here's the thing about the coaching thing. I think that some people make valid points when they say that Kevin Stefanski from time to time has been known to coach not to lose. That is what I've been, he coaches not to lose as opposed to coaching to win, however you want to put it, whatever you want to say. I think there's something to it in the sense that Kevin Stefanski is this like calm, collected, calculated, like every move he makes in a game is calculated. Rather, the knock being that there's conservative play calling in the second half. To me, he's looking at all the outcomes, and I think in most cases he believes that being more conservative is better. And I'm not saying I agree. I'm saying that's what I think he does. And I think that with a win, he doesn't with the lead. I mean, we saw it. People talk about the Titans, as opposed to basically the Bengals being the one key exception where they got and held a massive lead for really the entirety of the game. Mm-hmm. That being the one mullet or the outlier in this situation that he gets conservative. I think he does. And right now my point was on Twitter yesterday, he's 18-11.
Yeah.
Like he's 18-11 as a head coach. Now, when this because I feel like in most cases when we're complaining about his conservative play calling, they're winning those games. Because he's not really going like has it backfired and they've then taken the lead? Yeah, I think it has. And I think what happened, I think you really saw that that happen. I got sidetracked. The Chargers game. The Chargers game was the one time that I think he got a little conservative, that it backfired and they lost. Like it feel like they got most of the time. It feels like when he gets conservative, they still manage to squeak out a 24-22 or what was the Titans game was 41-38, I think was the final or whatever it was.
The Colts game last year was a lot like that too.
Right. So to me, it's like, okay, I get your argument and you're not wrong. But if he's winning more often than not, I'm okay with it until it starts backfiring. And you saw it backfire once this year. So to me, the question is, if it backfires, because I can only think of the one game where it like truly backfired. If it backfires, can you make the adjustment to fix it and still win the game? That's to me when it's going to be a major problem for me.
And you've had a bunch of opportunities where it's felt like the offense has gone cold. They get the ball back with the chance to go back up. I mean, you could say the Chargers, the Chiefs, the Steelers. Those three games come to my mind immediately where, it just hasn't happened, right? For whatever reason, I don't, however you want to distribute that fault or whatever. It's just like, I just feel like, they've had a chance to continue to push and it just it gets down to that last opportunity and they just have not been able to.
There's too much pressure on them.
Yeah. And maybe and I wonder, I have a lot of questions about that. Like, is it just because they no longer can balance the pass and the run, and then the offense just sputters?
So yeah, go ahead.
I mean, that's my main
Yeah.
thought there.
Okay, so I think you're onto something there. And I'll get to Cancel Anime's throwing some good stats out there about Baker in the first half versus the second half. First half being 16 of 21, 48, 2 touchdown and interception. I think, and I agree with him. I don't think it was his fault. I think there was just miscommunication there between the two of them. In the second half, he was 6 of 12 for 42 yards and 0-0, which is interesting because the opportunities are still called there. Like, my thing is, like, how much of that was the call and how much of that was like, that's 50% completion. I don't know that that's all on the play calling, but I get the point because there was a lot of really simplistic run calls in that second half that led to some of being behind the chains and some things like that. Here's the thing. In the first half, it felt like you were able to overcome a talent deficiency in the pass game. And I'm not saying that it's I think people misunderstand me and think that I'm blaming all of this on the receivers or I'm blaming this all on Baker, when I think it's a combination of the receivers. At times it has been his right tackle. At times it has been his injuries. It's this whole plethora of things that have come together that made the passing attack just difficult. Like, it's labor. Like, it feels like it's not easy. These yards don't come easy. And right now, listen, not every team has the personnel to shut down the running game. The Ravens, they do. And I know that their corners and everything were down and they lost Calais Campbell early, but Bowser, Patrick Queen, all these guys that played really well in the first matchup, because Calais Campbell wasn't in that first round matchup either. Remember that. All these people that shut the run down 2 weeks ago were shutting the run down again. Remember, that's what the Patriots did. Remember, that's what the Cardinals did. Not all the teams are going to have the personnel to be able to shut it down. But when it is shut down, the threats in the passing game cannot open it back up. And I get that maybe a little bit more play action. I would like to see some more play actions and some things like that, of course, because I saw Corey Kinnan talk about this a little bit, that the run game doesn't even have to be all that successful for play action to work. And I agree. It's more effective if the run game's working, but they know you're going to run. So it's still going to work to an extent, just maybe not what it would work if, if the running game was working. But I think there's this mixture of things that, like, DPJ is a hell of a contested catcher. I still don't know how he caught that catch on the sideline. Like, I was like, oh, it's a pass interference. It was actually illegal contact, but I was like, oh, it's like a pass interference, whatever. And then Dad's like, they declined the penalty. And I was like, what do you mean they declined the penalty? And I'm like, trying to figure it out. And he's like, did he catch it? And I was like, oh my, he caught that. Like, I even tweeted at him, like, because he had tweeted a picture of it. I was like, dude, I don't know how you made that. Like, I still don't know how you made that. But DBJ to me is a guy that lives somewhere between like 70 and 110 yards. Like, he is the perfect complement to this a dynamic player, a Rashad Bateman, a Garrett Wilson, Jamison Williams, Treylon Burks, like things like that. Like, especially with David Njoku gone, because I think he is probably the most dynamic playmaker they have in the passing game, skill-wise. And I think without him, you see that. But right now, because one isn't working and the other isn't able to pick up the slack, it becomes this situation where remember we said this about the Chiefs game, the margin of error right now in this offense, especially for their passing attack, is nothing. They have got to be perfect. They do not have a guy who in the open field can make a bunch of people miss. They don't have a Stephon Diggs. They don't have, I'm trying to think of other guys off the top of my head, and then I'm just going blank for whatever reason. They don't have Cooper Kupp. They don't have Chris Godwin. They don't have these guys that can just make something happen out of nothing. And so the margin of error is nothing. And because of that, they're not fully healthy. Like, even the guys that are out there, even if you want to say the guys that are out there are healthy, guys are going in and out of the lineup still. we've got different, like, I don't know who's playing left tackle. It's probably Blake Hance, but like, I don't know who's playing tackle. I know Michael Dunn's probably out there. I only know two. Like, we've got two of our starting five probably going to play this game. And that's if COVID just decides not to ruin that too. So right now the margin of error is nothing. They do not have a dynamic playmaker in the wide receiver core. And as a result, they're not firing on all cylinders. It's not easy right now. It's not easy. And nobody's there to make it easy.
I just don't understand that because like today I watched a clip of Baker's rookie year when his best receivers were Jarvis Landry and Brashad Perriman. And, Brashad Perriman was good that year, but I was just watching him throw all of these signature tight window throws. Like he's putting it in a space where only his guy can get it. Because aside from Perriman that year, it was literally just Rashard Higgins and Jarvis Landry. And I can't even remember the name of the tight end that wasn't.
It was David Njoku and Darren Fells.
Fells. And he's throwing Darren Fells open. And I'm just like looking at this and I don't know if is Baker hurt and he can't make those tight window throws. Is the system not doing it? Because and you know what, the glaring lack of just absence to me of just pure verticality. Verticality? Is that the word? I'm not sure, but you look back at what
the ability to get
has
vertical.
Done. Sorry,
the ability to get vertical.
Yeah, and you look back at what Baker has done, and there's such evidence that he can. And you know what? And so I know. I'm not saying these receivers are amazing or whatever, but he set the rookie touchdown record with. I mean, nobody that's like this dynamic separator or whatever. Like Rashad Perriman's fast.
So this is what I'll say about that argument. You also didn't have tape on him. And I know that people says what you want to say about it. I know that I think that playmaker's still in there too, probably. But like, what he's good at.
Yeah.
And when they take that away, he doesn't have someone to make it work.
I felt like even in the Kansas City Chiefs game, like okay, so let's fast forward to the second half of last year. He was still like he was throwing Rashard Higgins open, and a lot of that to me he was throwing guys open still, and it's just like the biggest thing it's missing from Baker right now. And you know what? And I want to go on a little bit. Like I was making a tweet today about Jadeveon Clowney, and like normally I feel like I should be so excited, right? The Browns just had a huge win. And I'm happy about that. But it's bringing me down the way Baker's struggling, because that's like what really gives you faith, right? Is the quarterback that can take you over the top. And last year in the second half, it's like Baker's doing all these great things that really gave me personally faith that the Browns could beat just about anybody. And right now I'm hoping. And to his credit, I think Baker made a couple throws against the Ravens that he hasn't been able to make in a while.
Yes,
I do think
he looked good and he looked healthier.
Yeah. And so, but it's like right now I'm just like looking for him to be able to throw guys open, because that's you're right. You're absolutely right, Jacob. There doesn't seem to be somebody right now that is going to be this dynamic playmaker at this point. So the quarterback, if the passing game is going to be successful, if the Browns are really going to be able to beat good teams,
he has to elevate them.
He has to elevate them, and he's just not doing that right now.
Producer Ed's got something he wants to say. Ed, what's going on, man?
Yes, I have to bring this up. Nick, I love the English language, and verticality is a word.
Nice.
Position at right angles to the horizon. Synonyms: erectness, hey now, uprightness, verticalness, and type of position, spatial relation, and it's a property of a place where to say something is situated. So great word, Nick, and let's keep going.
That's what that's everything. That's what you wanted.
Hey, because it's a word.
At the Barking Browns, we hope that we want to educate people, and using proper English, which Nick used with verticality, is a beautiful thing.
Do you feel like Baker is going to be able at some point this season to throw guys open again?
No, and here's why. Obviously, Stefanski doesn't feel that way either, because if you look at the routes that they're running, they're all out routes or go routes. Where's the crossing routes? There's no touch on the passes that he would throw before. So obviously, I believe that Stefanski with his play calls doesn't trust Baker to make those throws. I still think Stefanski still thinks Baker gives us the best chance to win. Otherwise, you would see Case Keenum. But to answer your question, to make the kind of throws that a franchise quarterback would need to make to win in the passing game, no. But that doesn't mean the Cleveland Browns can't win.
No,
they're just going to have to win ugly. But
that's why like normally if Baker had continued his first half and the second half, I'd be over the moon right now. It would be like constant hype, and I'm trying to and you're right. The Browns can still win and Baker can still get healthier, because obviously he made a couple throws that he wasn't before, but that's what's holding me back from going full throttle right now.
But here's what I don't understand. Okay, Delvin Cook, I believe, has a torn labrum, correct?
Yeah.
And I know he's a running back, but he had that injury, 10 days ago, and then he ran for like 205 yards. And I understand Baker had this injury since, the Bears game, but maybe it was the Houston game or whatever it was, but early on. And why hasn't he been able to overcome some of those?
I don't think it's throws. The labrum. I don't think it's the labrum anymore. I think
it's the leg. It's the leg planting on those throws, and that's I kind of agree to that, because if it was just a labrum, then I think he would be able to put the touch on those passes. So
he seems to. I think he's adjusted to the labrum. I think it's the other ones that I don't think he has. We'll check in with you in just a little bit, my friend.
Yes, sir.
So I want to catch up on some comments, and then I will give my kind of thoughts all around about Baker and some of the things that you said, Nick, because I liked a lot of what you said, and I'd like to address that. Game ball to James Hudson. He held his own. I agree. James Hudson let up 2 pressures, but he had a 25 grade in the run. So let's not get ahead of ourselves. Better than Blake Hance had been in the passing game. He only let up 2 pressures on the day. In 35 snaps, but he had he did not move anybody in the run game. He did not move them at all. My all 22 film review for Couch Guy Sports, I will have that out. I hope tomorrow morning, no later than 8 a.m. Thursday morning. So check that out. So I'll go more in depth into that then. MC Lawrence doesn't understand why we keep having too many people in the field. Neither do I.
Yeah.
AJ, I know, buddy. It hurts me in my soul, but we don't have an OBJ, and that's probably what would help us.
AJ has him in fantasy, and it's double painful.
I cut him in fantasy because I didn't think he was going to do anything when he moved. That's how stupid I am. My good friend Joe is weighing in. I'm happy to see you. I think Cancel Anime really said some things that kind of we talked about it. The passing attack feels stale and depleted. Baker will pop off an amazing throw like you had to DPJ. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I think that's exactly where we are, is that he will do that. And he points it out. That was an amazing throw by Baker to DPJ. It was a great play. I agree with this. I heard this comment. He bring this up. This is interesting. It infuriates me when people like Rex Ryan say the offense is loaded around Baker. It's not. We thought it was.
Yeah.
I think Andrew Berry did the same thing I did and saw it. The OBJ revenge tour. It's coming. It's going to elevate it. It's going to take us to the next level. Adding Schwartz's speed is going to take us to the next level. And it just right now, I don't understand it. Especially because your most dynamic player in that passing game is David Njoku, and he wasn't there. Yeah. So Baker Mayfield, the way I looked at it, I'll have to look, and I can bring him up right now because I have the grades right here to talk about it. Baker Mayfield I think he ended up 4th. He had the 4th highest grade on the team, and I think that's appropriate. Donovan Peoples-Jones slightly ahead of him, and then Dearness Johnson had a hell of a game, and so did Joel Bitonio.
Love Dearness, man.
I do. Oh, my God. We're going to talk some Dearness Johnson here in a second. I just want to get some things in on Baker. I'm going to get some of these things.
Yeah.
But Baker, he was, the only people ahead of him is DPJ, his lineman, and Dearness Johnson. He was the best player out there. These other kids, listen to Nick Chubb, a 70. His other Jarvis Landry, a 62. Kareem Hunt, a 58. These are his weapons. These are the guys that are loaded, right? And none of them had passing grades except for Nick Chubb, and he's Nick Chubb. So you're right. He is loaded at running back, except for the fact that Kareem Hunt, I know only played 13 snaps, but Dearness Johnson was playing a hell of a day. But the passing attack is not loaded. It is not. And right now, his offensive line is hurting. Who do I blame for the pick? I think both people thought they were right. It was just a miscommunication. Yeah. I don't know which one it was, Jarvis or Baker, but it was a miscommunication. It could have been both. Jarvis saw something that Baker didn't, and vice versa. Baker thought it should have been this. Jarvis thought it should have been this. I don't know which one's the right call because I'm not that smart. I guess you would. Yeah, that's my answer to that question. I'm going to go 50-50 on that one. I'm going to go 50-50 on that one.
Yeah, picks happen, you know?
Yeah,
it's not like Baker's throwing terrible, awful picks.
No, I wasn't mad at it. You're right. Cancel Anime says you're right, Nick. When Baker's playing great, it elevates all of us. The team just isn't the same without it. Yeah, is part of it the injury? Is part of it? I don't know what's going on with this weird stuff with Rashard Higgins. I just don't have any clue what's going on there. It's weird because it makes me feel like there's something about him in practice because this is multiple organizations on multiple different years that he has found. He found himself in the doghouse this year despite having like 600 yards in half of a season because he really only played half a season last year. He had 600 receiving yards, which tells you they know he can produce because this front office, this scheme, this coaching staff had him producing, and he's not, you know what I mean? It's like, I don't. So Baker had a 76.2, and I think somewhere someone told me that it was his second highest, I want to say, graded game of the season. I thought that was appropriate. I thought Baker played really well. His second half, I don't know, the whole second half of that offense, I just want to forget it happened.
I have one giant bone to pick, and I need to yell about it real quick. Case Keenum comes in, and they run it with Dearness Johnson, pick up the first down, the holding call happens. It's 3rd and 11.
Why are we always getting fucking holding calls on big run plays? Always.
But okay, so it's 3rd and 11, and you're trying desperately. The Ravens offense has shown life, and you're trying desperately to put this team away. Why are you they run it for like 2 yards? Like Case Keenum just how many did he get?
Really, like 6 or 7. Okay. You want to know what my bigger argument was? Why they didn't go for it on 4th down there? It was like 4th and 5, 4th and 4.
Sure. I was so frustrated. I was like, at least try to throw the ball.
Throw a screen.
Get a first down. I felt like I was like, they're not even trying to get a first down here. And I was so irritated.
You know what the thing was? Right back. You know what the thing was? They ran the same play.
Yeah.
They didn't even run like a draw or a screen. But listen, I defend Stefanski a lot. I can't defend that one. That one I don't. But this is what I'm saying, man. Like, you're still winning football. My buddy Joe said it, I think, the best. I think he said it the best way. We can't, right now, we can't have empty downs. We can't have an incompletion. No. We can't have a 1-yard run. We can't. We have to stay ahead of the chains. We can't have the defense making stop tackles. We have got to get 4 yards on first down and then half the yards on second. And then Joe pointed out, I think, all of their conversions, and I don't know how you would look this up. Maybe Ed can figure it out. All of their conversions felt like 3rd and 5 or less when they converted it. Like, I don't know if Ed can, it'd probably take him some time to do that, but can you check how all the 3rd down conversions that they had and tell me if any of them were a greater than 5-yard conversion? Greater than 5. So Ed's going to work on that. I don't know.
Probably very few.
Very few. So Joe's going to build on that. People aren't realizing that Baltimore had a great game plan against us. They get paid too. They virtually extinguished the screen game and the run game. We don't have a deep threat, and they condensed the field. That's it.
Yeah.
Baltimore does deserve credit in here defensively. It's not just our ineptitude, because for the second straight game for the Cleveland Browns, Baltimore showed up knowing how to handle you, and they had the personnel to execute it. I'm going to tell you right now, the Raiders aren't very good against the run, but they have Unique Ngakoue and Max Crosby going against James Hudson and Blake Hance, probably. And I am terrified. And I love Blake Hance, and I love what James Hudson did. But those, I believe he still is PFF's. I believe Max Crosby still has the most pressures, according to PFF.
He does.
Like it was like 80, I think. It's like stupid.
And Ngakoue has been really good too. right?
Yeah,
So like,
and Ngakoue has gotten the same treatment as Jadeveon Clowney.
yeah.
So Joe says that Dearness Johnson got a screen pass on 3rd and 7. So we know there's one.
Okay.
We know there is one that was more than 5 yards.
I saw a stat that they only attempted one pass of over 17 yards against the Ravens, and
I would say though that I think they called a few plays. I think Baker didn't make a few.
Okay.
Plays. I would assume. I still have to watch the all 22. That's the plan for tomorrow, and I'm planning to write that up for Couch Guy.
You know what? This is my personal struggle. I'm not trying to be overwhelmingly negative because it's not, and I'm excited that the Browns won. You know what? I had to do some searching today because I'm sitting there and I'm like, I should be so fired up today, and I'm just struggling a little bit. And I came to the conclusion that it's because of the Baker struggles. But again,
okay,
if they can just get the run. Oh, sorry. Go ahead, Jacob.
No, you sound like you need something. I'm gonna give you something. How about that? That's what I'm gonna do.
Okay.
I want to talk a little bit about Kevin Stefanski because I think I've gotten some flack. I think some other people have gotten some flack. This year has not gone how we wanted. It was. I feel robbed that I don't know how much of Baker's struggles are the injuries, and I'm not doing this be all grand all scapegoat out card. I feel robbed because if he was healthy and struggling, I would feel like I know that maybe he's not good. But the thing is, because he's not, I just don't feel like I don't think he's more than average this year while injured. I think that's what he's been. I mean, the statistics will show you that injured, he's been middle of the pack.
Yeah.
So, and do I think that he is better than what he has showed? I do. I still do. And I will until you force me to not do it. But I want to talk a little bit about this word that people love to talk about. I want to talk about culture. Kevin Stefanski can no longer, no matter how this year plays out, not have a winning record in his first 2 seasons as a head coach. They can lose out and he will be 18-15 as a head coach. I was asked how long ago after 32 games was it that a coach had a winning record, and I was informed that it occurred in the 80s. So longer than I have existed. So that brings another question. If Kevin Stefanski wins 2 games, the Cleveland Browns will have their first back-to-back winning season since, I believe, also the 80s or early 90s. I don't know that number. I can't remember for sure. So we talk about this culture, and I'm not the guy that says be grateful for what you have because 1-30. Just because we used to be a hot dumpster fire does not mean I need to accept mediocrity. Yeah. But I also think you need to realize what is happening. The game that we watched on Sunday, the Ravens converted their first onside kick in 20 years, 2 decades. The same old Browns lose that game 10 out of 10 times.
Oh, yeah.
We won that game. 2 massive plays. Well, 3 massive plays. 2 really massive plays in Jadeveon Clowney's sack and the freaking lumber laid by one Denzel Ward. Denzel Ward, hashtag
for him.
Pay the man. This culture, like, you're talking about players having wanted to come here. People see what happens. Like, people want to go to the Ravens because they're leading the division despite like 75 players being on IR. Well, guess what? The Browns aren't as in bad of shape, but they have lost so many. You're looking at an organization like Kevin Stefanski. He's not a finished product. He's only been a head coach for 29 games. He's only been a play caller. He was only a play caller for like a season and a half before that, right? He's not a finished product. But you're starting to see these wins. Like, people say people don't want to come here. Why don't they want to come here? They're 18-11. What if they go to 10-7, which is where I think they finish? I'm a little bit hesitant on that because of the COVID stuff. I was very confident going into this week. I'm not sure where I am because of the COVID. Ed is going to come on here in a minute to give us a break. He's going to give us some stats, and then Nick's got a word from our sponsors. But I'll finish this up, and we will get to that. You're looking at let's say the Browns go 9-8. So the minimum for them to have back-to-back winning seasons, Kevin Stefanski would be 20, and he'd have to lose. So he'd be 20-13, right? If they were 9-8 after being 11-5, 20-13.
Yeah.
So it'd be 20-13. I mean, if you're a dynamic playmaker and you say that team's a dynamic playmaker, you get what I'm saying? So you're starting to shift these wins. I'm not saying be grateful for what you got because of 1-31. But what I'm saying is that all we are focused on is the fact that I just don't think they're going to win a Super Bowl this year like I originally thought. That is disappointing. I am disappointed.
Yeah.
But it's not like nothing came out of this. It is far from nothing coming out of this year. You've got an organization that is in a direction we didn't dream about 4 years ago. And they're winning games that they lost for 2 decades. So, in my opinion, I think the perspective of it all, yes, I am disappointed. And yes, you should be too. And I'm not telling you how to fan. But you also need to step back, look around, see what is happening, and realize that there are a ton of dudes that are under the age of 26 years old. We are in a position we have not been in decades. And so I'm going to bring on producer Ed. He's going to say some stuff, and then we got to word from our sponsor.
Well, speaking of third downs, I found that the Browns are 22nd in the league when it comes to third downs, and at a 37% rate. So finding stats about if it's over 5 yards, it's a nightmare. It really is a nightmare. So, but another point that you were bringing up, Jacob, about back-to-back winning seasons. The Browns haven't had back-to-back winning seasons and made the playoffs. That would have been going back to 1988 and 1989. And looking back at that's
what I thought. I just wasn't sure.
Yeah, going back to the Bernie Schottenheimer days. And just think about how great from 85 until 89. The Browns were 8-8 in 85 and made the playoffs. In 86, they were 12-4, AFC Championship game. That was the drive. 87, they were 10-5. There was a strike or whatever, but that was the fumble. In 88, they were 10-6. That was the loss to the Oilers in the wild card game. 89, they were 9-6-1. Their last division title. Went to the AFC Championship game. Once again, lost to John Elway 3 out of 4 years. But and then they had success in 94. They were 11-5, but then they followed it up. They were Super Bowl favorites, according to Sports Illustrated, with Vinny and the guys in 95. But unfortunately, Art Modell moved the team to Baltimore when he announced that. That kind of derailed that season. So speaking of Stefanski, you're right, Jacob. I mean, great season last year. If we've finished up what I think that we can do this year, get to 10 or 11 wins, make the playoffs, and then, you can get this continuity and get this thing going. And but another stat I wanted to bring up.
Continuity and culture.
Yeah. Yes.
Matters.
But I got a mind-blowing stat. Everybody talks about Baker Mayfield and his contract, okay? And whether he's going to get 30 million, 35 million, 40 million. But so when Bernie Kosar was released in 1993 by Bill Belichick, he signed a 7-year, mind-blowing, $27 million deal. And the Browns were worried when they cut him, they had to pay him the $4 million for the rest of the year. And his agent was worried whether another team's going to sign him because he was making an absorbent amount of money.
Yeah.
7 years, $27 million. Baker, 7 years, $27 million. You down? I'll pay you.
Sure. Sign me up.
Sign him up. But that's what I got, guys.
Love it, Ed.
Ed, we love it. We'll talk to you again soon, man.
I will say the one thing I want to say, as we kind of get near the conclusion of this conversation and move on to our next little part, is if things hold steady the way they are, I'm very curious because I can't even remember the last time the Browns defense was dominant. I have no idea. I'm very curious to see, because it's like we've watched the Ravens defense carry them at times. We've watched the Steelers defense carry them at times over the years, I'm saying. So I'm very curious to see how far can the Browns defense really take them? You know what I'm saying? Like if they need to be the best unit on the team, if they need to be the ones that put them over the hump, how far can they take them? I think that's a fun science experiment. I really do.
Yeah. Nick, I think you got something for us on.
Yeah. So in part of our new wonderful beginning of our journey with Couch Guy Sports, I'd like to say, and related to Baker Mayfield, the Barking Brown Show is brought to you by Exogun. Ever do a workout and feel like you need a massage after? Well, get your massage without leaving the house. Don't let pain and soreness slow you down. Exogun revives muscles, boosts circulation, and releases energy so you can recover faster and live better. Take it wherever you need it. Work, the gym, the trail, and put the power of percussion massage treatment in your hands. It's portable, adjustable, and powerful. Exogun is trusted by the pros to deliver the ultimate in recovery. Like we said before, you can even use it for percussion therapy. What is percussion therapy? Percussion therapy boosts muscle function and recovery by penetrating deep into the muscle tissue with a series of rapid, concentrated, pulsating strokes. Gain back control of your body and achieve long-term pain relief with Exogun. Get 10% off with code CGS10 at checkout.
10 CGS.
CGS10 at checkout. Comes with a charger and carrying case. Go get your Exogun today and treat yourself to a massage at moment's notice. Which maybe Baker Mayfield needs himself some Exogun because
there's a pretty good chance I'm going to do that.
And I want to say as we're talking about our friends and our partners and our in general, you are wearing quite a nice shirt there, Mr. Jacob. Yeah. Let's go all the way from our wonderful friends at Zabo Apparel, who have been so kind to help with their great shirts as we do, because we're coming up on our next shirt giveaway for our Patreon members as we're in the middle of December here. So
yeah, it'll probably come after. It'll probably be announced before Christmas, but it probably won't come till after Christmas because I know Zabo is pretty busy.
Oh, I'm sure. And so just in case you are interested in a pretty high odds. So we have 10 wonderful patrons right now. And as a patron, you are entered every month into our shirt giveaway. So if you would like to be our 11th, those are pretty good odds to win yourself a shirt. It's only $5, and the shirt is worthwhile more than that. And you get all kinds of other fun things like our group chat and all Jacob's fun things that he's putting together, his articles. So no articles?
Yeah, no, I am, but I'm also right. Yeah.
Okay.
No, I was just smiling. I am. I'm writing articles there. I write exclusive pieces for the Patreon, but I also am writing for Couch Guy now.
You're a busy guy.
It's a lot.
You're a busy guy. But just saying.
Tomorrow I'll be doing my film study. So Joe says the defense can take us far, but the key is not only turnovers, but scoring. We scored against Cincy and Baltimore totally changes games. Yeah. If we if we can force, I think he means if we can force turnovers and score, we'll win games. Absolutely. Joe's absolutely right on that one. The defense, like we've seen defenses win championships. I know that's the saying, but we've seen it. I mean, the 2000 Ravens, tell me who their quarterback was. It was Trent Dilfer. He was cut the year after that. I'm not saying that this is the 2000 Ravens defense or anything like that. The offense needs to score more. But if you are able to not make mistakes, turn it over on offense, and the defense can play at a high level, it's a whole nother story, right? So the defense is really good. I think if the line can continue to get after it and the linebackers, we got a little glimpse of Jacob Phillips playing. I want to see. I can't remember off the top of my head what his snap counts was. I was so ecstatic. You guys know I freaking love Jacob Phillips.
Yeah.
Jacob Phillips. Let's find you. 28 snaps. He had 28 snaps, a 76.9 tackle grade.
I just want to say, Mr. Jiggles is asking how to sign up for the Patreon. I just hit your DMs with the link. You are wonderful, Mr. Jiggles.
That's my good friend Joe.
Joe.
That is Joe. Mr. Jiggles is Joe.
So check your DMs on Twitter.
He is the aforementioned Joe, who I speak with very. The Phillips penalty, man. Oh my god. I don't. Ed just put that in the comments as I don't know the speed of Phillips and JOK, man. I just keep JOK, man.
Yeah.
This defense at JOK, Kevin's face. Listen, I think you should be disappointed in this year. I think you should be disappointed because it's not just the injuries, because, the guys that are out there, like the wide receivers, because Odell wanted out. It didn't turn out to be what we thought it was going to be. Higgins has disappeared. I feel so bad for Kareem Hunt because it's just he's battling, and it's just one thing after a freaking another for that poor guy, and he's fighting it. So I'm not here to say, hey, I'm not one of those guys that says, hey, you don't get to be, you need to enjoy what we got because of what we had. I'm not saying that. I'm saying make sure that while you're upset and you're being critical of the things that you should be upset and critical about, that you're able to step back and think about guys like Greg Newsome, think about guys like JOK, think about guys like DPJ, think about Grant Delpit, because Grant Delpit, he struggled out the gate, especially tackling. He had an 84.8 tackling grade. Like Grant Delpit he had like a 90 coverage grade last time against the Ravens. You know what I mean? Like Grant Delpit is starting to get healthy. You're starting to see these guys that are 22, 23 years old. Myles is about to turn like 26. Yeah. Like, you see what I say? In reality, this year is disappointing, but the future isn't.
Hot stat. Do you know who led the Browns in tackling against the Ravens? In tackles?
It's not fair because I have it on the screen.
Well, it was Grant Delpit by like a wide margin, I believe, in total tackles against the Ravens. I was like just looking today to put together some Jadeveon Clowney stats, and I think he had like 13 tackles or something.
PFF's got him at 9.
9? Okay. Well,
and 6 is the next
thing. The ESPN thing was a little different than that. So I'm going to trust PFF.
Well, in ESPN, like they do it straight up. PFF like doesn't give out half sacks. Anybody that gets half a sack gets a sack, according to PFF. So like they do things a little bit differently. I can bring it up here.
Yeah. So ESPN has Grant listed at 11 total tackles, and the next closest being 6.
Yeah, John Johnson.
Yeah. So, but for what it's worth, I mean that was your leading tackler against her. I mean, that's exciting. And you didn't even have Greg Newsome. Greedy. I thought he got shoved into next week, in my opinion. I know I caught some flack for that, right? But that was OPI. I'm calling it OPI. I don't know if you thought it was OPI.
I think it was. I think he had a cup. I think Greedy had one of his rougher games this year.
Okay. Yeah. I'm not saying he was fantastic, but
he was fine. He had a tackling grade of an 80 and 81 in run defense, but he has 68 coverage grade. So
you have there's a lot of and you know what, you were getting excited about the defense, and I kind of took a little. But I am also very excited about the defense.
You should be.
You know what? The offense gives them a little help, gives them a little rest, and I think the defense can really cook. That's the one thing I really wanted to talk to you about. Mm-hmm. It's just. And you mentioned, Hudson's run grade. It's just like, and I know the Ravens play good run defense, but the Browns have always been able to figure out a way to run the ball, and just to see Chubb really struggle. And I don't think Chubb's fully healthy. He didn't seem to have that extra gear to me when he did find space. Just personally, that's my opinion.
It did look like he was missing it a little bit.
Like when Dearness Johnson got the ball, he had some burst. Right. So I hope he gets the ball a bunch. But that's the one thing is I think, you know what? So right now it's like the defense is this dominant unit, and the pass game's struggling, and the run game's struggling. If the Browns can and so here I am being Mr. Glass half full. If the Browns can just fix one of those, if you either start passing better or you start running better, I think you legitimately you raise your level as a team. You just need one, right? Mm-hmm. To me. Because
now you don't really have one either. You don't have either consistently.
So just one. I don't care which one, right? Just figure. And I'm more lean towards the run game figuring it out, because I just think Chubb is special, and I think Dearness Johnson is a lot better than he gets credit for.
Dearness Johnson deserves a job next year.
Yeah, he does.
Somewhere. He does. He deserves like the role he had at minimum, the role he had last week at minimum, because I think he's got talent. We're going to address this COVID thing real quick, man. Let's address this COVID thing. We're going to bring Ed on here, and then because we're going to launch into some Christmas dad jokes and another scenario, a weird-ass scenario to get you guys out of here. So I want to get you guys' opinion on this. I'm going to say mine real quick because, dude, I was so excited for today. I was so excited for the show. I was so excited for tomorrow and my first all 22 film review write-up for Couch Guy Sports. And then I just got punched right in the dick by COVID. And I got my COVID booster on top of that, and like it hurts, and I'm like a little girl about it. So like it's been a day that I didn't expect when I woke up. It just like I had so many highs, ebbs and flows, and some ups and downs on today. Emotionally, it was some weird stuff that was going on. This is what I think about the COVID thing. Offensively, I like that it is on offense. I like that it is mainly just on offense because as we're talking, the thing that makes it hard is the offense is already struggling. So I think that's bad. If you can get Harrison Bryant and David Njoku from a receiver standpoint, because if you're losing Jarvis Landry, I think Harrison Bryant can give you what he's giving you right now. I think David Njoku could give you together. David Njoku and Harrison Bryant could give you the similar production as Jarvis Landry and Austin Hooper. I think maybe, I'm not sure. But like, you see what I'm saying? Like maybe one group is better than the other, but I think somewhere along, like if you can get those two back, I think that's crucial. I love Michael Dunn. He's not Wyatt Teller, but like I feel pretty good about Dunn stepping in at right guard. I'm really worried about Blake Hance facing Max Crosby. I'm really worried about that. If it is a bad weather game, I think our defense is better than their defense, and I think our run game is better than their run game.
Agreed.
And I think we can still – at first, I thought there was absolutely no way we could overcome this. It's going to be hard, but I still think that the Browns can win this game. So, Nick, what do you think about this?
I have a few thoughts. So Anthony Schwartz has like been out for forever, right, with concussion. And I think, I do love the speed that he offers. Is there a chance he could be back for this game? That would be pretty cool. I don't know.
I've heard some stuff on him, and I will say that of what I can share, he is feeling better. He's
okay.
doing all right.
Okay. Well, that's good. And then who knows? Maybe again, it was like I remember they let Rashard Higgins come in against Buffalo like 2 years ago when he caught that touchdown and they win the game. Maybe again he'll just be forced into action and he'll do some good stuff. I think that there is still a lot of hope for the Browns because the Raiders are absolutely self-destructing right now with all the stuff that they have going on, and I don't think a whole lot of their offense. Darren Waller's been banged up. He's the most. So I have no idea what his status is, but I do think that if you continue to play dominant defense, you are going to have a chance to win this game, regardless of all the COVID right now. Just please no more. I still feel good about it. What's that?
That's the key. That's the key.
Yeah, no more COVID.
Ed, what do you think? And then actually, Joe's got a couple of things, and so does Cancel Anime.
Well, about COVID, I just want to tell people out there, I'm not an infectious disease doctor, but I know OBJ and COVID had this mutual respect thing, and obviously COVID didn't mutually respect Mr. OBJ because he has COVID now. So
that was still one of the most wild comments ever. His comment in that is still like, to me, it's like one of those moments that I forgot he had said it until it resurfaced again today, and I was just like, okay.
It's irresponsible only because people look up to him, and when he says stuff like that and then they don't go out and get their boosters or their shots, and then you get in a situation where this pandemic never ends. So I hope he recovers and nothing against him or anything like that, but come on, OBJ, come on. And mutual respect. COVID don't care who you are. You get it. It's going to get you. But concerning Saturday, the Browns have too much talent. The defense is playing too well. Derek Carr and the offense is breaking down. And the Browns will win, like I said, 23-10. It's going to be an ugly game. Maybe the weather will be pretty with the snow if it does matriculate on the lakefront. It'd be kind of beautiful to watch on TV. But I just think that the Browns have too much. And I do think even though the Browns could play like they did against the Ravens, and they only played for a half, and I still think that would be good enough to beat the Raiders. I don't think it puts fans in a good position, and our hearts kind of get a bad feeling, especially with that onside kick that was ridiculous. But I think Stefanski will have them ready to go, and I don't see how we lose this game. I mean, the Raiders really aren't good, and if the defense, like I said, if they play 75% of what they did against the Ravens. We're going to win on Saturday. So 8-6, and we're moving forward.
It'll be interesting too to see how, because apparently there's like 75 total cases across the NFL in the last 2 days. It'll be interesting to see if that hits the Browns again, if that hits the Raiders. Like we have no idea. We have no idea what it's going to look like. So overall, I decided on Twitter, like I was going to save my overall judgment predictions for when I have a better idea on who's playing, I think. But I do agree. I do tend to agree. Cancel Anime says, I love Nick Chubb and all the running backs, but right now I'd rather have a pass game figured out. Last year in the second half, when Baker took off, is when I felt it gave us the best chance to win.
Sure.
A good passing attack is more efficient than a good running attack. It is. It's just mathematically the truth. Joe says, Jake Burns had a killer game review post where he broke down every offensive play. Browns did some new stuff, including run action fakes from the shotgun we hadn't seen before. You know, I haven't seen Jake's piece yet. I will definitely go back and see that. But I did feel like the offense looked as good as it has looked all year in the first half. And that makes sense to me to hear that they were running some more creative designs and stuff. And I'm really looking forward to my All-22 review tomorrow night. It's an article. I'll write it up, but I'm going to be doing it tomorrow night. So that'll be a lot of fun. Okay, gentlemen. I will give you some yucks before you get out of here. I'll give you some. So, what is the difference between the Christmas alphabet and the ordinary alphabet? The Christmas alphabet has no L. Yeah.
Noel.
Yeah. Hey, what kind of motorbike does Santa drive? It's a motorcycle, whatever. It's a Harley Davidson.
That's a hog. That's a hog.
Yeah. Hey, how is Christmas exactly like your job? You do all the work, and some fat guy in a suit gets all the credit. Bam. Hey, how did Scrooge win the football game? The ghost of Christmas passed.
I was gonna say he had the almanac from Back to the Future.
It's probably the same thing, man, isn't it? It's probably the same thing. All right, guys, I've got a weird, crazy scenario because I love to do these to end the show. I thought my jokes were funnier than that, but
they were good, Jacob. They were good. They're good.
It's a tough crowd. I'm trying to find one because these can be a lot of.
Nick, your cup that you show everybody your cup.
My
cup? Your Cavs cup.
Oh, this. Well, this is just. This is.
You know what's great about that? In the 90s, when they changed from the Mark Price and they went to that kind of look and everybody hated it. Okay, now everybody loves it. It's amazing how things change and everybody kind of falls back in love with the retro kind of stuff. But people did not like that when it came out. They hated it. And Drew Carey on the Drew Carey show, he was wearing that Cavs like baby blue with that new logo. I call it like the tornado logo. Kind of looks like a
I like it,
and everybody hated it, but now they love it. And I always loved it. I love it. But
you know what? I gotta say, bad job out of them. I went to get a souvenir cup for this year, and they didn't have any wrap. It was just like a blank cup, and I don't know. I don't understand any reasoning for that, but bad job out of them because
bad job. And Dan Gilbert, next time Nick Carnes shows up to the Romo Fijo, he gets your seats then.
Yeah, that's ridiculous. I guess if you could change what falls from the sky every time it rains, what would it be? And why? Note, it can't be anything of significant value. So it can't be money. But if you could change what fell from the sky, I would pick chicken nuggets. So, would never go without a chicken nugget.
I don't think I'd want something that was unwrapped. So I'm a real big fan of Starbursts. So I'll take Starbursts. Yeah.
Okay.
Can I say that it fall from the sky? Could it be something like some kind of dust that makes Browns Twitter love each other and not fight each other? Is that possible?
Yeah. No, I don't think it is.
Well, some of us are excited about the Browns trying to win and be in first place in the AFC North, And some of us tweet out pictures of Baker on a trash can.
Some of us are just pissy that, you know, our narratives are just what they are. They're narratives.
Yeah.
And so,
no, it's like you're gonna push the anti-Baker agenda even in victory now. So
I had so many people like show me about my favorite
no names, Nick. No names on that one.
My favorite one was the guy that commented under my thing when I said that Stefanski's 18-11, and I'll continue to trust the coach that keeps on winning. No matter. They showed me about the personnel that he used on his hands team and how horrible it was, and I was like, he won that game, dude. I don't care. Like, you can come at me with that whatever you want. But like somebody was like, oh, they didn't score in the second half. And they're like, those statistics matter. I'm like, actually, the statistics that matter are the dubs. And he got a dub.
You know what? So, somebody complained that so I posted that the Browns were the only team in the AFC North to win this week, right?
How much hate did you get for that?
Oh, no, you know what? That was good. It was a good tweet. But, you know, there were some salty people. So I got one guy that said, not good enough to cover the spread, and I'm like,
my God. Degenerate gambler.
Yeah.
You know what? I'm gonna take the victory, man. I don't know.
That's why I never bet the straight. Like I don't bet. I will as soon as that comes into Ohio, but I don't bet the spread. I bet the money line.
Okay.
Because I feel good about my thought process on who will win. I just don't know what it'll look like. Like, I think the Browns will win, or I think the Saints will win. Like, I feel good about things like that. I'm never usually pretty good about the spread.
I do want to say one thing to anyone that does need to pick me up and kind of what is dragging along. One of my favorite things I did today was I went back and I thought about the playoff game against the Steelers and all the things that the Browns had to overcome to win that game. They didn't practice until Friday. They didn't have a head coach. They met one of their linemen before the game. The Steelers were once 11-0. They were without Denzel Ward and Joel Bitonio, and they still won that game, right? Against a team that, you know, just like a month earlier, everyone was like, they're Super Bowl favorites, blah, 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 blah. You know what I'm saying? It's like, so before everyone wants to go doom and gloom, and we know there are people that want to go doom and gloom, I just encourage you to think about all the Browns have overcome already this year, all they overcame last year, and not to count out, and especially against an opponent who, I mean, the Raiders just got absolutely destroyed last week, right after they stomped on the logo of the not the best idea on your part.
Please do it again. Please
do that again. Yes.
And you know what? I need to say this because I normally don't go here, but anyone who watches the show knows I hate the Raiders. I hate them. Fuck the Raiders. We're gonna kill them. I hate them. You know what? They ruined Baker Mayfield's debut. They ruined it, right? Because they robbed Myles Garrett of a strip sack, and they called it a first down, went back and said, no, they moved it. They moved it.
And it was still a first down.
I don't think it's ever been done in the history of the NFL.
3 rushes for 100 and what was it? Ridiculous.
It was like 3 rushes for like 104 and 2 touchdowns.
Yeah, they ruined his day.
Nick Chubb's still the only run. I don't want to get the stat wrong, but he set a record that day, an NFL record that still hasn't been broken for like fewest rushes with over 100 yards. I think. Yeah. So he still holds that record. And they had to get John Gruden, who's fired now, his stupid win. That's why they did. They robbed.
Wasn't it?
Well, yeah. Right. And so I'm still mad at them for that. And then last year, right, the Jarvis Landry pass isn't a catch. And then the Hunt was a Hunter Renfro. It is a catch. One's a catch, one's not a catch. There were some other shenanigans. Myles Garrett gets hurt in that game, and I don't think they had Nick Chubb, and just all this other stuff. They are not a good team. The Browns are a superior team. I don't care. So as long as they can win, that's all I'm trying to say. It's a long way to say it.
8-6, guys. 8-6 sounds pretty good.
8-6.
Yes,
it does.
We could be in first place come Monday.
Yeah.
Oh my God, please. Right? Because who really thinks the this will probably come back to bite me? Who really thinks the Ravens are going to beat the Packers? Honestly,
they'll end up boat racing.
Aaron Rodgers.
Please.
We're going to leave you with this, guys. We could be talking to you guys same time next week about your first place Cleveland Browns. So
we could. Nick, we very well could be. So there's a lot
of
reason to have faith. There's a lot of reason to have faith. This show has faith. Ed has faith. Jacob
Dog
has faith.
chug tomorrow, 10 o'clock.
Dog chug. We'll see. We'll see what shenanigans they have planned. I'm sure they got all kinds.
10 p.m. tomorrow. Catalina Manchmixer. Roger
we
First
love
in Cuyahoga Falls. We love you, buddy.
So thank you everyone for all your comments and likes. Thank you to our new friend Joe, our newest patron. You already added into the chat. You're wonderful.
That
Thank you,
actually, oh shit. That means I have to chug that natty daddy.
Oh yeah, yeah. Is that now? Is that a now?
I'm not doing it right now, but I'll do it. I'll do it this weekend.
Okay. All right. Yeah. We will expect a video on that. Yeah. Yeah. You did. You're a man of your word. What a guy. What a guy, Joe. Okay. So this has been
Ernest
what
Biner.
episode? Ernest Biner. Oh my God. This has been the Ernest Biner episode of the Barking.
We didn't
Brown
fumble.
Show. Nope. That's Ed. He's Jacob. I'm Nick. Go Brown.